Genesis chapter 31. And he, that would be Jacob, heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. Hold it. Remember he took all their sheep away? So the boys said, he got all this glory. In other words, these huge herds of goats and sheep. He took it away. It was supposed to be our father's. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. He's not looking too friendly. And the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock. And he said to them, I see your father's countenance. It's not toward me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father. Now that's true. And your father hath deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. I don't know if that's true or not. He might be exaggerating, but the dad did change the wages a couple times. First he started off saying, you get the spotted ones, I get the solid ones. And later, no, I get the spotted ones, you get the solid ones. He kept changing back and forth, and Joseph knew how to manipulate this and ended up with the whole herd. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. If he said thus, the ringstrake shall be thy hire, then all the cattle bear ringstrake. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I think you kind of did that yourself, Jacob. You trickster, but that's all right. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ringstraked, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob, and I said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ringstraked, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. So he's claiming he had a vision from God, and maybe he did. But he's telling his wives, God told me to take all the stuff and get out of town. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? So he's talking to his 2 wives, and they know their dad has tried to steal everything from them too. Laban has tried to cheat them out of their own dowry. Are we not counted of him as strangers? He hath sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's now. Then whatsoever God said unto thee, do it. This is a great wife. So, honey, you follow God, I'll follow you. Then Jacob arose and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and they carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting which he had gotten in Padanaram, to go to Isaac, to his father, to the land of Canaan. He's going to go 550 miles back home. And when you're pushing a herd of sheep, I would say that's quite a job to travel like that. Okay? And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. Her father was worshipped idols, and she had stolen one of them, or some of them. And Jacob stole away unaware to Laban the Syrian. So even though Rachel was good looking and stacked, she was a thief. Okay? So, guys, be careful not to just look at the looks, okay? Better get some character references here before you decide on which one. And so he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face toward Mount Gilead. There's quite a controversy about where Mount Gilead actually is, okay? It appears to be Ramoth Gilead, right here, in what today would be Syria or Jordan. I forgot to look up which one. Syria, I think. So it was told Laban on the 3rd day that Jacob was fled. So Jacob already lived a couple days away. Remember, they separated the flocks by 3 days' journey. Now he's been gone for 3 days. It took a while to get the message back to the dad, hey, Jacob's gone. Then it takes him 7 days to catch him. So he had probably time to travel that far, a couple 100 miles, easily. And he took his brethren with him and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. Now this map shows Gilead way up here. Some show it down further. I don't care, okay? But it's over with. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said to him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. When you see Jacob, shut your mouth. This is God talking to Laban. Sometimes with some people, it's best just not to talk at all. You ever met anybody like that? You can't even tell them hello. It's just best not to even talk to them. Smile, nod your head, and keep walking. What was that comedian did that? Here's your sign. Remember that one?
Bill Engvall.
Who?
Bill Engvall.
Bill, yeah. The sign was, I'm stupid. Here's your, I'm sorry, I didn't see your sign. The guy, he pulls into the gas station, got a flat tire, and the guy said, what's the matter, your tire go flat? And he said, no, I was driving along, these other three just swelled right up. Here's your sign. Didn't my tire go flat? Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the Mount Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, what hast thou done that thou hast stolen away unawares to me? Why did you leave without telling me? And carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I might have sent thee away with mirth and songs and tabret and harp? Yeah, right. You're going to have a party for me when I take off with all my sheep that you think are yours? I don't think so. Hast thou not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Hast thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. And it probably was. He brought his own army with him. Here's Jacob with 4 women and a bunch of kids. And probably had hired some help to take care of the sheep. I don't know. But the God of your father, he's not calling him his God yet. I don't know if he ever was his God. But the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. And now, though thou wouldst needs be gone, because thou sore longest after thy father's house, wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? And Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid. For I said, peradventure thou wouldst take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Jacob's tent, and Leah's tent, and the 2 maidservants' tents, and he entered into Rachel's tent. Interesting thing, each of the wives had their own tent. And Jacob had his own tent. So apparently he had to go visit them, or they had to come visit him. Probably had a calendar worked out. And Rachel had taken the images, and put them in the camel's furniture, and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. I can't get up. This is the wrong time of the month. Sorry, Dad. She's sitting on top of the images in the furniture. But he searched but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin that thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years have I, he's going off on his father-in-law, Laban. Okay, he's had it. This 20 years have I been with thee, which means the kids, the oldest kid would have been about 11 or 12, because he had to serve 7 years for the first wife, and then 7 days to get the second wife. So probably, and then 6 more years to get all the sheep. So 11 or 12 years old. He's got 11 kids now, all under 12. Freddie, you're going to have that, aren't you? You're going to have 5 all under 9. No wonder you don't have any hair. Okay. No. This 20 years have I been with thee. Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of the flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts, I brought it not unto thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was in the day, the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Typical shepherd's job. You freeze some days, you cook the next day, and you lose sleep. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I have served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac, hath been with me, surely thou hadst sent me now away empty. Empty away now. Has sent me now away now empty. God has seen mine affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters. These children are my children. These cattle are my cattle. And all that thou seest is mine. Do you see any attitude problem here? Yeah.
No party.
No party. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne? Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap. big pile of stones. And they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it some big old long name, but Jacob called it Galeed. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Galeed and Mizpah. For he said, The Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another. You can buy these at the jewelry store. A Mizpah jewelry necklace, you know. The wife or the girlfriend wears half of it and the boyfriend wears the other half. And when you get together, you touch them together. Mizpah. The Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another. Just Google Mizpah coins or Mizpah necklace, and you'll see hundreds of them you can buy. Okay. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee. I think that means, if you hurt my daughters, God's not between us. I'm coming after you, boy. Okay? That's my take on that. And Laban said to Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast. Hold it. Didn't Jacob tell his guys to gather stones? Jacob said, guys, get a bunch of rocks. So they built the pile of stones. And he said, look at this pile of stones that I built. This guy just doesn't get it. Okay. Anyway, which I have built cast between me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm. The God of Abraham, and the God of Nahor, the God of our father, judge betwixt us, and Jacob swear by the fear of his father Isaac. And Jacob offered a sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed, and returned to his place. Next chapter. Remember, Jacob, he was a trickster from the time he was born, and tricked his brother Esau out of the birthright. He's been gone for 20 years. He's coming back home with a whole bunch of sheep and an angry father-in-law behind him and a whole bunch of kids. And he's about to meet his brother Esau that he cheated 20 years ago. Next chapter. Take that up tomorrow night.